Well, angels, that is what we need. Angels. And why do we need angels? Because angels carry us over the seemingly insurmountable gap that lies between the impossible and what is possible. From the unbearable into the absolutely wonderful. From the agony of grief to the glory of joy. Angels, you see, are like bridges to blessings. And that's at least what happened that very first Easter morning in the emptiness of the tomb, in the emptiness that the women felt in their very soul when they came to the tomb. Angels were there. They were in that emptiness, one foot anchored in it, but not the other foot. You see, their other foot was firmly planted in joy, in peace. A joy and peace which the disciples could not see, they did not feel, and in their despair, they could not even imagine. Nor can we sometimes. When life disappoints, when the pain of the past, fears of the future, grief of the losses endured, when they take hold of our hearts, we too experience, as they did, a form of spiritual and emotional, imaginative blindness, in which we cannot see or feel or imagine blessings, not blessings in our lives now, nor blessings in our lives to come. And when that happens, as I said, we need angels, as the disciples did, to help us find our way. We need angels to say to us, as they said to those disciples, that emptiness that you feel is not as empty as it seems. Because God is still here. Love, stronger than death, it's still here. Hope, beyond what seems possible, is still alive. And so is Jesus whom you seek. We need angels, as the women at the tomb did, to stand with us, to wait with us, to encourage us, to look again, to consider possibilities even when it seems there are none. We need angels to carry us when we cannot carry ourselves into joy. And we need to be those kind of angels for one another. The women at the tomb, they tried to be angels just like that to the other disciples. They ran back from the tomb. They told the angel's message of hope to the other disciples, but they did not listen to them. They thought it was an idle tale. And see, that's the problem. So often we too think that. We think that hope for a better world, a better, more divine way for us, for others, is but an idle tale. That is, a story that goes absolutely nowhere. And we think that because too often words are unconnected to actions. Because too often promises lie idle, unconnected to the practice of that promise given. Such things are bridges only half built. You see, it's easy to say, I'm going to read your mind, as I did earlier in the service. You remember that. It's easy to say love or peace, but to do the impossible, to actually read your mind, to bridge the gap between hope and actually a life of love and peace, well, now that is a little bit more difficult. Such bridges as that are built only with hard and sometimes hazardous work. We learned that this week, didn't we? Holy Week. For Jesus, when he put love into action, he found out that that was hazardous work. It will be for us too. Thank goodness then that there are angels in our midst to help us. Thank goodness that the Easter story the women told is no idle tale, no bridge half built. For the disciples put that seemingly idle tale into gear. To hope, they added courageous action. To words of welcome, they added acts of hospitality. To love spoken, they also added offers and gestures of care. And because they bridged that gap, impossibilities gave way to actualities. Because they did, in a world that was then even more divided than our own is now, by race and religion and culture, among the disciples a community of care arose. And in a world more desperate and broken then as ours is now, in the disciples healing and hope truly was found. The question is, who will build those bridges of blessing today after those disciples? Who will help carry us from emptiness into undescribable joy? Who will be the angels of action described in the Scripture? My hope, of course, is that we all will, all of us here. That is why you have received a feather, an angel's feather. My hope is that that feather will remind you that indeed you are an angel. But you have to remember this, that a feather, a wing, by itself cannot lift anything. It cannot help anyone or anything defy gravity or the downward push of life. Unless that feather or that wing is put into action. Faithful flapping is what that feather needs. So this Easter, let us make sure that Easter is no idle tale. But with that faithful flapping, may we each do the impossible. May we, in fact, learn to fly so that today and always, like an angel, like a bridge to blessing, we may lift each other and carry each other into the promised joy of new life. Happy Easter.